Okay, today I want to continue to talk about red flags and signs that if you see them before, during an interview, avoid taking that job. Don't take that job. Get out of that job as soon as you can if you already took that job. Um, One of the signs, I have about 17 or 18 signs, or a little bit more than that. One of the signs is that you'll see that you should not take this job is if they ask you for certain documentations that are very confidential, like your birth certificate, not your driver's license, your U.S. passport. Those things they don't need until after they offer you the job, and most of the time those are for if they're going to do that IN9, that immigration um, verification that you're eligible to work in the country. Other than that, they don't need that. They can ask for an ID if they want to just verify who you are based on what's your resume. Make sure whoever is on the resume is the same person coming in for the interview, etc. And they're just supposed to look at it, not make copies, and keep it. So that's one of the signs. Another sign is if they, number two, if they want you to spend money to buy stuff and or send money or whatever, that's not a good. That's a scam. So these are signs that a job is toxic and or a scam job that I'm pointing out to you. um, you shouldn't be able to pay for anything. The only thing I used to pay for is when I used to work with daycare. If you have to do fingerprinting and stuff, sometimes you got to pay for that. Some jobs will pay for it, but most small daycares and stuff won't. You would want you to pay for it. But other than that, you should be paying for their products and stuff. That's usually scams. Number three, they lie to you a lot about the job, how much it pays, how much the hours, whether it's going to be full time or part time, making promises they don't follow through with. Those are a sign that you shouldn't stay on a job like this. If they, when you get the job and you start working, the pay is not what they say it's going to be, the hours are not going to say, it never get to full time, or you realize that a lot of people has the same issue. It never went to full time, etc., or they left before a certain time, or you all got the same pay. Those are warning signs right there that this is not ethical place and a place of integrity. On that note, if they Jiren Mack you, I was Jiren Mack by Lee Walden in my interview because I have on my resume that I have integrity. And he was like, who has integrity nowadays? I was surprised a man at his age would be doing that. He should be glad that somebody like me would say something like that because he doesn't have to worry about his wallet being stolen, stealing his phone, using the company credit card or anything fraudulent or any other fraudulent behavior. But the man instead jeer and mock me because I have on my resume that I have integrity and I'm ethical. And that tells me that because he is not ethical and because he doesn't have integrity, why he took offense to me having that on my resume. Number three, another thing he did before I go on to number three is during the interview, he keep asking me questions like, why would you want to work in this area? He was very impressed with my resume and was showing to the foreman who was the one who did the interview with him. Oh, why you would want to work here? Um, you know, why you want to work at a place like this? There's a lot of gunshot in the neighborhood, and I'm not scared of gunshot and all this. And I said, nobody in their right mind, even if it's a bad neighborhood, would have said something like that to me, or said something like that in an interview, because um, they want people to come to their neighborhood. They don't want to be scared to come. They want somebody to work in their place of business, so they wouldn't bring up something like that. So I'm like, who in their right mind does that? But that's what he did. And every time I have a positive answer for him, he'll have a discouraging. Oh, why you want to come in? Look at your resume. You're gonna be bored. And so I'm like, why? So afterwards, I thought of it. I said, why would you want to bring someone in an interview to say those things? Who does that? But eventually, it started making sense because it's not a real job. It's a scam job. It's a job where they don't keep nobody and they know they want to keep you here for a long time. They just hire and fire people and try to get rid of them. So, and they want you there because whatever, maybe your documents or whatever, but something was not right. So when you see stuff like that and you hear things doesn't sound right, those are red flags. Doesn't sound like those should be things that should be said in the interview. That's a red flag that you shouldn't even take the job. A high turnover rate. Number four. people coming in and out. After I'm there for a little bit, I realized that nobody last year, none of the women that were hired for the office last year for more than 2 to 3 months. Maybe 4 months they'll go, one or two may go, but none of them. So you look at that, the revolving door, and also the electrician. Yeah, I hire a lot of, over time I realized that too. The electricians, but it's more so for the women in the office. Just last few months, and he told me the way he talked to me in the interview. Oh, how you can you work long? You want a permanent job? Because I want a permanent person. I want somebody who's going to stay here and grow. Lies, lies. Because in no time he was trying to push me out, and he was doing things for me to quit, and then try to falsely accuse me for have an excuse to fire me. So when you see stuff like that, where the turnover is high, people coming and going like a revolving door, going like they're going to a revolving door, it's not a good sign. It tells you that's not a good place. Another one is discriminating. Talk about, one of the things he did was he just hired a young guy recently, and just before he let me go, and the guy is Spanish, and one day I don't remember what came up or what he was saying to the guy, but he's called the guy a Puerto Rican. The guy said he's not Puerto Rican, he's Dominican. Oh, that's lower. That's in the bottom of the barrel. That's even lower than blacks. That you're the lowest of all of the ethnicity. And he was just saying all this stuff. And when he's not saying that, he's saying calling the men niggers, those niggers. He even said it to the guy, because I said to him just before I leave, and when we had that argument, I said to him, I hope you're already abusing this guy. You just start working here. He wants to save face, so he called up the guy because the guy wasn't working today and said, "Hey, I want to get you to do some training, and you're gonna be doing some stuff that the white men know, and all these niggas wouldn't know. They wouldn't have the sense to learn it. But I feel you're smart enough to learn it. So I am gonna teach you. I'm gonna give you these books and let you take these courses and stuff." And I'm like, who says that? Who does that? So he's very discriminating, and I realized it even before he said that. That part of the way why he treated me, he doesn't like women. He mistreated women. His own wife and daughters have worked with him and didn't stay. The first day he took me out in the field with him, and I started the first day of the job. He talked negatively about the women who were in the industry who apparently won a lot of the bids that he wanted to get. And said, oh, they're taking over the business, all these effing women, all these bees. So from when I heard that, I put it in the back of my head the very first day. Although he was trying to be all nice at first, but eventually, little by little, you see that he's abusive towards people, and he's especially abusive towards women, very oppressive towards women. Because one other thing he did was that shortly after I'm there, 6 weeks, I noticed somebody new name, a female name on the payroll, because I used to do the payroll, and when I asked. When I mentioned it to the foreman, he said, "Oh yeah, he let me come to the interview." I said, "But why? Why would he be hiring somebody? He just hired me," and that didn't sit well with me, because he didn't give me enough hours. He said it was going to be full time, but you hired somebody. You didn't pay me enough for that one. You could have paid me a decent amount of money and give me more hours. But because he loved to oppress women, he rather hire 5 women and all give each of us a little bit of money and give us a little bit of time. He doesn't want to see us do well. He doesn't want to see us be able to take care of ourselves. He wants us to be in lack for whatever reason. And this is one of the things I noticed about the man. Very oppressive and want to keep down others, but especially women. So you got to look, when you see those things, you spot stuff like that. You don't want to be in a place like that, and you want to leave a job like that as soon as you can. Discriminated, talks a lot of negative things. Negative, like I mentioned in the interview. He'd be saying, "Oh, my resume was good," and blah blah. But then he was saying, "I want to work in this negative neighborhood. Why wouldn't I be in this neighborhood where they got fire and shot and all that stuff?" Who does that? Nobody says stuff like that. My almost 40 years working, and I think it's more than 40, because I've been working into my teens. But who does that? So number 7. Constantly nitpicking. This man will not want me to eat, and I'm only there for 6 hours a day. But at times I'm hungry. I didn't get to eat breakfast. I didn't get to, so I walk with stuff and I sit at the desk. There's 1 or 2 times I went out when I first started, and I see that it took too much time. It's longer than you're supposed to get. So I rather walk with stuff. And your man will nitpick about the microwave. Say I leave the microwave door open, and if I mess it up, I'm gonna pay for it. And he'll just nitpick, and he wants to do that when I speak up about him talking to me poorly. So he'll wait till maybe in the afternoon. Sometimes I don't even use a microwave, and I'm like, listen, I've been using microwave for years. Nobody has ever nitpicked with me about microwave, and you talk to me as if I just got off the boat. I've never used that microwave. I have been using microwave. Most of my job I have microwave. Nobody else. There are times I see a door open and people just close it automatically. It's not. Nobody's not going to be away from the microwave so long, gone for weeks, that the microwave will stay, door will stay open, and goes bad. In an hour or two, someone will say, and even overnight, and he's there from morning till night because it's his business. So he's there from early morning till late at night. So what's the big deal? So this man will nitpick about a spot he see on the letter that I type, and I'm like, sir, what am I supposed to do? The paper has spot, the ink probably from the stuff, a little spot, a little fine spot. But this is when you see somebody nitpicking about nonsense. They want to get rid of you, and trying to find all kinds of stuff, either to get you so annoyed that you quit, or upset that you quit, or trying to false accuse you, because that's another thing he does. He'll false accuse me that I don't do stuff when he moved things and changed things that I type, move things in the filing, or forget it because he's older, and he'll say it's me. So the false accusation, if somebody lie on you a lot and you realize it's not because something, they're forgetful and they're not taking accountability for it. I say, I'm my bad. I said you did this, but they're not doing that. They constantly want to blame you and accuse you, and you can see their purpose is just trying to get under your skin. Then that's not a place. You didn't come to job for that. You didn't want, you didn't look for a job to be harassed and antagonize and taunt and belittle and curse that. You didn't come to a job for that. So that's another thing. When you see they're cursing at you and using inappropriate language at you and others, that's not a place you want to stay at. That's not how a workplace should be. That's very toxic. That's very unhealthy for anybody. That takes a wear and tear on you. A lot of times, as strong as I was, I used to feel so drained when I leave that place every day. I should be looking for a job, and I had no energy most of the time, because just the constant belittling and berating, and the constantly have to be defensive and speaking up and fighting back, it takes a toll. Okay, so you don't want that. It's not healthy for your well-being. So you don't take a job and stay in a job like that. Lots of gaslighting. That's number 9. Number 8, lots of telling you lies and not owning up to stuff, pretending and saying stuff when it's obvious that you see what you see, and trying to make it seem like you're crazy or you're delusional. The foreman used to do that a lot, and he does that a lot. Where you're saying stuff and it make it seem like, oh, that's not true, that's not what's happening. So look at that, and you don't stay in a job like that. Number 9, stealing your time, defrauding. Like he tried to steal my time. One of the reason why he retaliated and fired me is because 2 weeks before that, I noticed my time was changed on my timesheet. You couldn't tell if it was a 5 hours or 6 hours I worked, because we do the timesheet for the week that passed, the week that we work.